top quality stuff. So could that be Alice in Wonderland? We actually used to climb on top of them roofs and walk along the roofs as well. Yeah, 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 we're after Easington Village and Easington Colliery. Here we go, back again with another mad mistake video out and about. I'm going to my roots, going back to my roots. Yeah, Easington Village, Easington Colliery. Let's have a little tour of the place. So today we're visiting the place where I was born, Easington Village, Easington Colliery. This used to be an old garden centre. A garden centre, hence the reason why I didn't realise until now it was called Nursery Gardens. It was called Nursery Gardens because the old garden centre used to be right down there, right in front of the school where I used to go in my senior years. Comprehensive. Now this was always the posh end of Easington. Yes, Easington Village, the posh end of Easington. On this side of the road was the posh end of Easington. On that side of the road, well, you know, mainly council houses, colliery houses on the way down. And yeah, you always sort of kind of, you always let to believe you were rich if you're on this side of the road. Well, and there's my old school. Easington Village Comprehensive, the place I just did not like going. And the first memory I can actually remember was playing on the school field over there, not that goal, one at the very back. There used to be a goal up there. I was in goal, somebody blasted a shot straight in me bollocks, and I went down in agony and I couldn't continue for the rest of the match, and I had a high-pitched voice for the rest of the day. Yes, that was my comprehensive school. I used to always remember all the lads used to go behind the school for a tab and the teachers used to tell them off. There was never a running track around here because I would have enjoyed that, and you weren't allowed to go on the field at break time. On my run today, I'm going to do a tour of Easington Village and Easington Colliery. Head off back to the main road. We'll cross over the road to the council, ex-council houses or current council houses where my mum actually still lives. Yes, I lived on the left-hand side just over here from about 84 onwards for a good 4 or 5 years. Road called North Crescent. I remember playing football down the street many a time before there was loads of cars kicking about. That's the house I used to live in there. 1986. The hand of God Maradona was down here. I remember playing football against my fence, thinking I was as good as Maradona when I was clearly nowhere near as good. I'm now heading down a street called Carlton Terrace, I think it is. I remember writing my name down here in the cement somewhere. I don't know, probably gone by now. Me and my best mate at the time, and then coming over these fields to play golf. Oh, there we go. There's my name. I don't know if you can just see it. T-E-Z as in Tez. Tez. Bloody hell. How many years ago was that? But yes, this was a field I used to go over, play golf. We had a couple of makeshift holes up here at Easington Village. Step over the fence. Not a very big field. Again, nice houses behind. I had a hole in the top corner up there, one in the bottom corner, one down here. Exactly every single corner we had a hole. And we chipped the ball around here. At the time, I mean, we were little, we were sort of like 11, 12-year-old. Hit the ball canny far. We thought that was miles from one side to the other side. Par 4. And in the top corner up there by the trees, we used to play cricket when I was a really good fast bowler. And then also, we had a couple of goal posts up there in the corner where I used to go and goal and enjoy being in goal. To this fence. Head off through the brambles. It's been absolutely years since we've come down here. Oh, it's probably overrun now. Look at the big fence up there. Let's have a look. Oh, it's still here. Bit of a drop, I've no idea why. Someone has a little, oh, look at that up there. Someone's got a little patio, garden, little veranda outside of his fence, so you can spend hours looking into the quarry. Not really, but the sunshine would be lovely in the morning. You can see for miles all the way. Now, that school, is that, I don't know, that playing field's gone now. I think we'll find that chimney in the distance. That chimney. Remember when that was built? That is now an old folks home, I think it is. Don't know why it's a big chimney though. It's like a strange looking thing. Now this place is called Littlethorpe. As you can see, there's some very nice houses down here. I mean, look at that one there. That's an old built house there, the new ones, just off the roundabout, heading towards the Easington village, Littlethorpe. This must be like an old farm building here as well. I've no idea what's behind it. Don't even know if I'm allowed to go down here. Old farm building. Probably get shot for being down here. But yeah, very old build. Your middle-aged properties and then your very old properties. We're going to head off now around the nook, around the corner to the Dene, hopefully. Hopefully there's still a way of getting down there. It's public footpaths go from left to right, so hopefully it'll take us down to the Dene. It's an amazing property. It's called Lambourne. Clearly loves his horses. What a quiet, beautiful little village. Gilthorpe House. Again, another new property. We head off now the right hand side. That should take us down to the Dene, but this way will take us the side down to the Dene. We'll go down this way, see what we can find down the Dene. We'll keep continuing the run. God, it's been years since I've been down here, absolutely years. Probably back in 1984 was the last time I was down Littlethorpe Dene, or even anywhere near this vicinity. Lovely little place to go for a run, mind. And I remember a story once, it was called the Mad Hatters. The Mad Hatters. People were down camping, you know, as they did as young'uns, and there was strange people wandering around the woods, dressed all in black with tall hats on, called the Mad Hatters. If anyone's heard that story, please leave a comment down below. And I never actually saw them myself because I was never that daft to go camping in them woods anywhere near. To be fair, I never really liked camping. I'm more of a glamping kind of person. Coming at the end of the path, and now this should take us down into the Dene itself. Now if we head off to the left, as you'll see in the distance there, as you used to call them, the metal houses, Oak Road, houses with metal on the outside. They look straight over Littlethorpe Dene. There, someone's got a swing. As my friend at work, Lisa, would say, a sex swing. It's clearly not one of those, but I don't know how she knows about sex swings, but there we go, have a swing. We'll have a little swing on that, shall we? I'll probably fall and break my neck, so I'm not going to bother. Yeah, I'm not going to tempt fate and go too far out. So there's Oak Road. Remember that for a future story. Now I remember Littlethorpe, where we've just been, where them farms were. As kids we used to run over there and get up to all sorts of trouble that we shouldn't have really been doing. I remember the farmer coming out, this field just being ploughed over, so it was like, you know, like the waves of ploughed field. We had to run across the field to get to the other side, head off back home. Now, there was a farmer, and I'm sure he was shooting at us, and then the police came over the top end for some reason. God knows why they were chasing us, God knows what we were doing at the time. But yeah, I was a little bug of it. I mean, I was a little sod when I was a kid. Definitely getting into all sorts of trouble. End of the day, there wasn't much else to do. We didn't have the facilities now of being able to go out and just, you know, do any kind of sport that you wanted, any kind of activity that you wanted. Back in the early 80s, pit strike was on. We didn't have any money, so we got into all sorts of trouble. Yeah, I remember running over these fields and just getting to the other side before the farmer came, and we got away, obviously. Heading up towards the comprehensive school, and this is the street where I was born, Milton Lane, of all places, Milton Lane. Yes, my dad still lives up the right hand side, Wordsworth Road. Heading down to Milton Lane, where I was born back in 1970. I was born in Cameron's Hospital, but I moved here, obviously, with my parents back in the 1970s. And here we are behind Milton Lane. Look at all the old trees. These trees were absolutely blossoming in full flow when I was a kid, and we used to climb up and high up into all these trees. As you can see, they're all dying off. There's the house I moved to when I got married. I built that wall. I actually built that wall, as you can see. And the very end house with now the massive extension that was the first house my parents bought. The first house my parents bought without the extension. And my dad had an allotment in there. Yeah, that was my garden years ago. I remember having a raspberry bush at the very back of the garden. God, it looks so small, the garden now. We had vegetables in there, me and my dad growing the vegetables. We had a rabbit hutch. All sorts. And then my dad said when he first bought this, the farmer's fields was just over that fence, and one day he woke up and there was cows in his farmer's field. Cows come from the farmer's field into his garden, loads of cows, and the grass was about 3 foot high. Never looked over here for years either. Old allotments. We had an allotment here. It's all gone to waste, all of it gone to waste. My dad's allotment was down the bottom. Look at all those doves up there. Let's have a look. See if we can get there. Focusing on them. Kind of few doves there, isn't there? And the farmer's field's just there, and these allotments were bought off the farmer, so the local people can have like vegetables grown. My dad had an allotment, he used to rent it, and obviously this wasn't here, so the farmer used to have cows in the field, and they came over into the back of our garden, and I was just a young lad. My relations lived next door actually, so there we go. Number 31 Milton Lane. So here we are over the road where the police house, the police station's just there. It's still there, the police station. And these buildings, old folks' homes, were never there. One massive field, one big field. And I remember playing golf over there once. The policeman used to always sit in the windowsill in the police house. Best friend, Aki, lived next door. Still lives in Easington, I think over Oak Road somewhere. And see those trees in the distance? We used to hit golf balls from one side to the other side. And at one point I creamed a 3-iron, and I was only about 11, 12 year old. I went for miles, I bounced at the edge of the grass, straight over the main road, bounced on the main road, missed an oncoming car, straight through the police window. Luckily there was nobody sitting in the window of the police station. But we did a runner, and it took us about, I would say, half an hour to an hour to finally get the courage to go past to my mate's house next door. And then we sneaked in, put the golf clubs away, and nobody knew it was us because there was no CCTV back in the day. Back to Easington Village, as as I just went to Easington Colliery to show you my old houses. I cannot believe it's still a urinal there. This was there when I was born. This was there before I was born. It's actually in existence. There used to be an old concrete bus stop where I used to swing out onto the main road, and at one point, I remember, there used to be a grip bar up there. I used to swing out. I swung out and I landed straight on the curb on my back, and I was in agony for days, and I've probably still got the scars now. Back in the 80s and 90s, there used to be some bouncing pubs and clubs in Easington. This one wasn't one of them, but this was the old village club my parents used to go to. The Newt Pond was just over there before the farmers' fields. I remember years ago coming up behind these garages with a load of wood and a hammer and nails and trying to build some sort of aviary. I had some weird ideas. Obviously that didn't work out. I built it, didn't get any birds, didn't put any in, and left the wood there for years to rot. Completely pointless. But yes, the old village club. Heading up towards the top of Easington village where all the pubs were and clubs, when the place was bouncing back in the 80s and 90s. With being a decent runner, the council asked us to go on one of these twinning exchanges to Germany. We went to a place called Basweiler in Germany near Aachen. And the first day we got there, we got the ferry over, we got the coach, we drove to a place called Aachen. There must have been about 50 people on the bus. The majority of them were in the 50s, 60s, 70s, old council workers, all men of course. As we got to Aachen, the very first street we pulled into was a red light district. Loads of women standing out shop windows with not much clothes on, and all the old council workers all went in for, I don't know what they were doing. I have no idea what they went in for, but yes, they went in. Dirty buggers. One of the first pubs I want to show you is the King's Head. It still has the King's Head sign on the top. This was the disco. It was a bit of a dive, to be honest. I heard it was a bit of a drug den back in the early 90s. I've got no idea what year it closed, but it did close down. 90s at some point. The King's Head, yes. Over the road we have the Village Inn. It is now a Go Local extra. That was a really nice pub. Really nice pub on the corner on the way to Hawthorne. We had the Village Inn just there, and we had the King's Head was bouncing just there, and then up the road we had the Mason's Arms for a bit of karaoke. That's the Mason's Arms just there, that building with the wood on the side of the house. That was a canny little pub back in its day. Jukebox, karaoke. She used to have a little bit of a nice little bit of a pub crawl with a Village Inn. It's just recently closed, mind, turned into a shop. And then obviously the King's Head. So here we go, the old village church, St Mary's Church, St Mary's Church. Spent many a time actually messing around in here, to be fair. This is where we brought my kids here to be christened. Yes, we brought my kids here to be baptised. Very old church, this one. St Mary's Church. I mean, there's somebody there who's passed away. 1869. Starting to rain now. I've got photos, me and my family just there, walking around the cemetery in Easington Village, living the dream. Here we go. Used to get some really good nature, some really good birds nests in those trees. I remember on the radio today, Brian Cox, Professor Brian Cox, talking about nature, and he said he asked somebody what music kind of reminds you of nature, and the guy said, now I thought he was going to say things can only get better than walking around in a graveyard. Yes, but he didn't. He basically said that some music, some orchestra music from 1914, 1913, that was the music that brought out life. And there we go, there's the Mason's Arms. in there for a bit of karaoke, but I was a bit shy back in the day, so I didn't get up on the stage for any karaoke. Don't want to stand on anybody's grave, so we'll walk around the outskirts, head off down the side of the building. It's getting cold now. A little door that takes you down into the cellars. How do I know? Because the crowd went, ho! And then we'll walk on the side, and over the road there's a building called Seaton House. Seaton House. I don't know if I'm allowed to go in there. I don't even know what it is now, whether it's an old folks home. I remember back in the day when that was completely derelict. Derelict, we were young kids. We used to go in the back door, squeeze through, go upstairs, wander around. It was really haunted. And it was pitch black when it was dark, and you went around inside there. It was some strange rooms, a bit like, what's it called? American Horror Story in Asylum. It was a bit like that. There was some strange carrying-ons going in there, and it was there. When we were this little sprogs, 11-year-old, that was massive. It was scary, out of buildings, barns and all sorts. It was a great place to go and mess around in if you enjoyed that kind of thing. There we go, it's not called Seaton House now, it's called Seaton Home. And it was a 13th century house formerly used as a rectory. One of the oldest domestic buildings in England, believe it or not. The rectors of Easington lived here up until 1921, and something to do with the Pope back in 1378. Let's have a wander around in here. Seaton House. I remember seeing a ghost up there at some point back in the day. I hope there's no rain on my lens. Welcome to Seaton Home. There we go. The house was originally built in 1248. It has been extensively altered over the years, including major rebuilding work in the 15th century. As you walk around the building, it is possible to see evidence of these alterations inside and out. Front of the building would have looked very different in the 13th century. That's when it was abandoned. Yes, look. Those renovations were carried out in 1990 after the Easington Village Parish Council purchased what was then a condemned ruin for £1. With the help of a variety of grants, saved the Grade 1 listed building and opened up for the public. Seaton Home is now a community facility, an exhibition space, and is the offices of Easington Village Parish Council, Groundwork North East. It's also a gateway to Durham Hillridge. I remember going in there when it was looked like that. Round the back, it looked like that. Going inside, you know, as kids, you were kind of adventurous, exploring different things. There was all sorts going on there, and I'm sure it is haunted. Yes, they call it Seaton Home now, not Seaton House. I don't know why I called it Seaton House. The house was originally built in 1248. It has been extensively altered over the years, and including a major rebuilding work in the 15th century. As you walk around the building, it is possible to see evidence of those alterations inside and out, and the front of the building would have looked very different in the 13th century. Renovations have since been revealed. The original arched windows set between the buttresses. Oh, the buttresses? The buttocks up to the right. Hey. Okay. Right. These renovations were carried out in 1990 after the Easington Village Parish Council purchased it for £1. It was a condemned ruin. Grade 1 listed building with grants. The Parish Council has saved this. And yes, I remember exploring inside there when I wasn't allowed to. Exploring inside there. And there was all sorts, you know, you were adventurous as a little kid. There was ghosts and all sorts. I'm telling you now, it was one of the spookiest places it's ever been. And there we go. Upstairs, the parish clerk's office reveals the former west gable wall of the house. It became an internal wall when the building was extended and the roof raised. Parts of the original structure are visible, including stone cobble supports. 1511. Heading to the back, where the farm is still there, the village farm. Some lovely old buildings in Easington. Absolutely lovable, lovely. The house and the estate. The Grade 1 listed 13th century house was originally part of the much larger estate, including barns in front of you. There you go, there's a tractor just over there. The main building formed the south wing of the courtyard arrangement. The north range in front of you would have been 2 stories high, was a service wing in the 14th century. The building also provided guest accommodation and stores and was linked to the main house by the East Range to your right. That was demolished in the 1950s. These buildings were once surrounded by lands on all sides, including substantial farmyard beyond the North Range and plantation and garden to the south. The front garden was originally much larger than it is now. The high stone wall was removed in the 1930s to widen the main road. 1792, an official description of the land and contents stated that there were numerous outbuildings, stables, barns, coach house and granary, dove house, corn chamber, stable yard, a 39-foot row of low buildings for pigs, chickens, etc. These were also offices for brewing, washing, sealing and coals. There we go. And that's it now. And there we go, it's the back of the building. That was the door I think we got into. Or was it that door there? I don't know. But yes, very old building. Very spooky and scary to be fair as well. I've got no idea what's on this side. Probably somebody lives in there, so I don't want to record that side. Cottages, the cottages, yes. And we're round to the back of Seaton House, Seaton home. Easing through a looking glass. Oh, the Reverend Little, Rector of Easington, 1880. Once a family house, the 13th century building has been a home for many people, some with remarkable connections. Perhaps the most interesting, the association with Alice in Wonderland. Charles Dodgson, aka Lewis Carroll, met Alice Little in Oxford, where her father was the Dean of Christ Church. The author looked to the little children on boat trips and made fanciful stories and entertained them. One of these was based on Alice, published in 1865. Alice Little's grandfather Henry was a rector of Easington. There he is, Henry Little, lived in Seaton home. So could that be Alice in Wonderland? Enough down the back of the old building. I don't know if I'm allowed to go down there, but we'll look anyway. This should take us over to the farm, where we will see in the distance an old oval shaped barn. You could walk down to the Dene that was over there as well. Let's take another look, see if you can see with me. We'll get involved in. Look at this barn here. It overlooks the A19. There we go. I remember going in there once. Even went in there when it wasn't even open at some point. Round barn conversion. I'm forgetting what that used to be. Some sort of mill. I'm not sure. So there we have Seaton home over the road. I'm heading across now to go to the posh end of Easington village. This house in front of us was once rumoured to going to be bought by Kevin Keegan back in the 80s or 90s. Was it the 80s? When he first played for Newcastle, because it has a big indoor swimming pool, but he decided not to move there. I've no idea why. But now we're moving up towards Easington village, where I used to do my paper round as a kid, and because it's the posh end of Easington village at Christmas, you got some really nice tips. Like don't eat yellow snow. Oh, on the left hand side, yes, the old youth building. Used to go there for village school discos. I have no idea what this is now. No idea. Let's have a look. I remember doing breakdancing in there. We're trying to do breakdancing in there. Probably broke something, it wasn't very good. What is it now? Got no idea. Oh yes, it's behind the church. It's probably connected to the church. It was the old church outbuilding. We used to have Friday night discos. And we used to go in there. I remember my mate moving from Newcastle. He was such a great breakdancer, body popper. And when he first started dancing, everyone was like, wow, what kind of dance is this? Breakdancing, body popping. And then him and his brother started to teach me. And I was kind of okay, but nowhere near as good as the Geordies. There we go, car parking facilities. It's called the Half Moon. It serves the most wonderful meals, and it is serving takeaway food at this moment in time. It is the only restaurant that is still open in Easington. I'm led to believe, Stockton Road. There we go, the Half Moon. My parents still go there for Sunday lunch. Not at the moment, but you're allowed to have lovely takeaways. And when that reopens again, they do serve the most wonderful and beautiful food. It was another place to go for a pint on the village pub crawl. The Half Moon. There we go, it stopped raining now. That used to be the Shoulder of Mutton. I used to go in there when I was probably 16 and underage. But they used to let me go in there. That was the main door just there. Had a pool table to the right, pool table to the left, bar to the right. Some kind of little disco end at the back. Used to go in there for a pint. Obviously it was against the law because I was 16, but in them days they didn't care. So long as they got the clientele and the money. Bouncing place to be now, the South Side Social Club, which my parents went up into. Which my parents used to go up until last year before lockdown. Now they don't go in anymore because of lockdown and because of obviously the coronavirus. But inside there, it's open now. It's a good night for a few drinks. Cleanliness 5 on the door, as you can see. I'm not sure if it serves food or anything. I've got no idea, but as you can see on the door, we'll zoom in. Southside Social. Southside Social, should we say. It's got a 5 for hygiene. Very nice place. Car park. I remember going back in there again when Caravan of Love was out with the House Martins. Like it was New Year's Eve. There was a party at New Year's Eve. And again the stage, and the first person to eat 3 cream crackers got 2 free pints. I think it was in a minute, and nobody could eat 3 cream crackers in a minute. I was cream crackered alright. My mouth was dry as sticks. But yes, the Southside Social Club. So there we go, that's Easington Village. Great pub crawl, King's Head, Village Inn, Shoulder Mutton, Mason's Arms, the Half Moon, and also the Southside Social. Southside Social, it's a mouthful. Heading to the nasty end. Now we head into Easington Colliery. That's the place you want to go and have a look around. It's fallen to bits. Absolutely fallen a bit since the pit closed down. We have an Easington Colliery Club where my dad was on the committee for years and years and years. I was a member for years and years and years, but I only went in about 6 times. Odd pint before our session on a Friday night. A nice cheap and cheerful pint. There's been some bands, there's been some groups, there's been some fantastic turns in there, and it's a good night for a good old boogie and a bit of bingo if you like that kind of thing. Yes, that's the Easington Colliery Club. And then to the right we have the big green where the Wordsworth Road crew would have their bonfire. We'd have ours over the road, as I mentioned the other day, and we'd go and raid each other's bonfires. And here we have, just down from the Colliery Club, the Easington Rialto. The old cinema was opened in about 1935, closed in 1970. There used to be some sort of, like, I don't know how, but I used to always be able to climb inside there. I don't know if it was a bit of an edge that's been knocked back, I'm not quite sure, but in the olden days, I don't know how we did it. We used to climb inside there. There used to be all sorts of amusements before it got turned into a carpet shop. Now it's a carpet shop. Get some decent carpets in there. But yes, that's the old cinema, the Rialto, closed in mid-70s. Now we're behind the back streets of Easington. I've been in there a few times as well when I was young, and I don't know how, but I was. We got in there and we went downstairs. It was kind of like very, what should we say, very spooky. We'll keep going down the back streets of Easington. I'm going to show you an old Chinese shop. It was absolutely gorgeous. I think it might even be still open. I don't know if it's still open, but it was a beautiful Chinese shop. It was Stewart Street, Wembley. This is called Wembley. I think this is down Wembley. There's the takeaway Chinese. Whether it's still open, I don't know if it is. But I used to always go there. But I remember a story once, back in the 80s. But it wasn't that Chinese shop, it was the one down Easington Colliery my mother bought when we first moved above his shop. Down Easington Seaside Lane, she bought gravy and chips, and we were walking home as we were doing up our flat. We were walking home and she found a beetle on top of her gravy and chips. Back in the 80s, some of the Chinese shops were a bit dodgy. And see further down, We have the old school that's now closed down. I'd show you another video before. It's an old school. That used to be the junior school, infants further down. It's my old school. I remember coming out those gates once. I got a skinhead back in the 80s. I had to wear a hat because I didn't like it. Oh god, oh. Playing football up there with an old baseball, tennis ball. Yeah, Easington Colliery School, dropping a bit. There's a tree growing up there now on top. Used to have cinema nights in there as well. The boys' entrance before it ended up being mixed. Infant school. Yeah, there's infant school. And the boys were up there. The girls were down here before I got moved to the infant school. There's the old. Let's have a look back here again. The old janitor, the caretaker. Sometimes we'd help the caretaker out, we'd take turns helping the caretaker out, doing all these duties when we were naughty kids. Used to go into the caretaker janitor duties. Not that I was naughty that often, I was only in there a couple of times. And that's the back of the co-op. The back of the co-op up there. Deliveries for the co-op. I remember climbing on top of that building up there. I don't know what I was doing up there, but we did climb a lot. One of our activities when we were younger, we had nothing to do, was climb around the buildings. I never climbed up there, but I definitely climbed on top of the co-op. Here we are down Easington Colliery. That building in front used to be the Black Diamond. Yes, the Diamond, the pub, got knocked down. It used to be bouncing in air like the old wine bars. And there we have the co-op, yes, the front of the co-op. Redone over the last few years. Ladbrokes in front. And behind us we have the welfare hall. Yes, the welfare hall. Spent many a weekend, many a night in there playing snooker. Back in my young teenage days when I loved playing snooker. I was alright, wasn't particularly amazing, but I was okay, won plenty of games. Pit closed in 1993. Easington is steadily falling to bits. This once vibrant, bouncing seaside lane street full of shops is now just a very quiet, desolate, boarded up bunch of shops now. The welfare hall still open now. Just had to stand outside here about 4 o'clock and wait till the doors open, get your name first on the board to play a game of snooker. That's all new houses up ahead, and there's the welfare park. Used to go and watch Easington Colliery footballers play it. Easington Parish Church. All these shops now. We're bouncing one time over. There's the Chinese years ago. That's the one where we found a beetle on top of on top of my mum's gravy and chips. We'll walk down here. There's a shop here used to be called Manners and Harrison's, now called A Taste of Home, number 31. That's where I used to live, above there. In fact, that small window in front was my bedroom, next door my mother's bedroom. We used to throw eggs over the top from our backyard, over that roof. It would go all the way over into the church garden. They wouldn't even smash it, bounce on the floor, they wouldn't even smash. We'd play catch with eggs. It's to catch the eggs. Happy days, throwing them over there and catching them on the other side. We actually used to climb on top of them roofs and walk along the roofs as well. Seaside travel. All the shops closed now. I know it's Bank Holiday Monday, so they probably already are closed. There's some fantastic shops down here one time over, and now the majority of them are just all boarded up. Nothing going on. Everything falling to bits. We'll have a look around the back very shortly. Them two terraced houses with some prime buildings in its day. Used to be a shop called Car Care there. That did really well. Used to be the video shop was on the end. Can't even remember half the shops now. DIY store. The Golden Glow used to be the DIY store. Used to go all the way down the supermarket. It's now a oopsie downtown cafe. And Billy Elliot was made behind those houses. We're going to have a look later on. My mother worked in that white shuttered building down there. It was called, what was it called? It was called, oh man. The Greengrocers. Was it George's? George Mills. Mills, yes. Mills's Greengrocers. Up for sale now. Mills's Greengrocers. That used to be I forget what it was called now. Walter Wilson's. No, it wasn't called Walter Wilson's. It was something else, but all these shops down here, every single one was bouncing. There's only Boots that really is, I think, still open now, to be fair. Yeah, it's just be a bouncing place down here, Easington Colliery now. It's just a ghost town. You know, a ghost town, population of 5,000. Pit closed in about 1993, like I said. That school back there where I went to, the juniors and infants, that closed that opened in 1911. Premier Express, that used to be Matt Baker's parents' shop, I think. I think that was the one they had. Used to walk up here in the 80s and used to be, I wouldn't say, you know, there used to be 50 people up and down the shop, shopping, doing the daily groceries, popping in each of the local shops, getting bits and pieces. That was the day out for the day. Popping into Mills, popping into the supermarket, coming down here, getting bits and pieces of clothes, you know, videos, things for your cars. Back in the 80s, even in the early 90s when the pit just closed down, most of these shops were open. It was thriving community. We moved down here back in about 1981 when my parents got divorced. Parents split up. We had to move above his shop, and that's when I turned into a little git, because I'm not proud of my youth. I was a little twat every now and again, but end of the day, it was like freedom for some reason, you know. I mean, my dad was a great man. He's a good man. He's a nice man. And my mum, you know, I love them both to bits, but you know, I did sort of go through a time where I was a little bugger, a little hard to control, I think, as a lot of young uns go through. But like I said, Billy, it was done down here. There's some houses were being knocked down there. Now I'm behind the shops where I used to live. That used to be a church. That's now gone. That church is now gone. Completely gone. There used to be a youth club hall here. That's completely gone. Used to always play football over here. That was like, imagine this was a car park, clean car park. That was all mowed green up there. There was a church, the vicar's house. Used to play in front of the vicar's house, football, cricket, all the sports God sends. And now look at the place, it's completely gone. Completely wrecked, because I used to live there. That house there. That was number 31, yes, number 31, as you can see. That was the garage. We had a garage. We used to keep pigeons, keep all sorts of animals in there. That up top there, that used to be a lovely little balcony. Used to be able to open the doors, walk on the balcony, used to have a railings going across. Next door was Pennywise, yes, Pennywise. That was my bathroom up there as well. Used to climb up on top of the roof, sunbathe up there, run along the roofs, jump onto Pennywise's roof, move down the next one, and so forth, so on. And, you know, surprised I didn't fall off and break my neck, to be honest. But yeah, I wonder if I can see what's going on in that yard now. That was the main gate to go into the church. Jesus, I didn't even know it got knocked down. Yeah, I just love playing football in there, all sorts of sports, being in goal. Chinese is about here. The Chinese, I've got a few stories about the Chinese. Well, I'd save that for another time. Jesus. I was a little shit. Get over this wall. Doesn't exist anymore. Like I say, this was the church. Used to go to church on a Sunday with my parents. Not my parents, my mum. There's the Victory Club. Used to go there many a Friday night, play on the Bandit, a couple of pints before we went to the welfare, and then the Black Diamond and all the pubs in Easington Village. Used to get absolutely pissed in there. Just completely gone now, the church, everything's just gone altogether. It's quiet, isn't it? It's quiet, eerie quiet. This used to be bouncing. Yeah, Friday night playing cops and robbers in there with my good old friend Ed. Wonder how he's doing these days. Never seen him for years. Easington Tandoori. There used to be a cafe at one time over. Used to go and play like your slot machines and your video games in there. Everyone used to meet up in there. And there's Welfare Hall. I was only in there a few years ago, and I think it was New Year's Eve. God, I'm not proud of my youth, but Jesus, I remember one Friday night walking past there, and some of the big lads that climbed in, that smashed the window, they climbed in, they were taking loads of drink, loads of cigarettes. This was back probably about 83, when I think it was the pit strike was on, or roughly around then, and then people didn't have much money, and some couple of people went past and said to me and my mates, we were only young at the time, a lot younger than the big kids, and they were like, can you wait there till the police come, please, because we've called the police, they're going to come and sort this out, try and find out who smashed the windows. I'm not saying I didn't pop in and get a few bottles of this and a few cans of that, but yeah, I know, I'm not proud of my youth, but at the end of the day, you know, what's happened. We live and learn from the experiences. It was a different lifetime back then, no CCTV and nothing at all happening. But yeah, the police did turn up eventually and sorted everything out. Nobody was caught for it. Nobody was caught for smashing, but yeah, it was, like I say, it was a different world back then. And like I said, I was a little shit. Now we're heading down the colliery. I'm going to have a drive along to see where my grandparents used to live, along the B streets, Butler streets. Used to be shops thriving down there as well. I bet they've all closed down. I bet they're more or less all closed down. We'll go and have a look, shall we? Wow, there we go. There was nothing left. Used to be, I don't know how many shops was down here. There was a good 10 shops down here. Now there's only 2. Fish and chips, Jill's Fish and Chip Shop. My parents used to live along here. Butler Street. I got teared down a long time ago. Butler Street definitely got teared down a long time ago. Look at all these now, all being ripped to bits. All them houses have gone. It took about, I would say 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 streets since the pit closed. There's been no need for the colliery houses. They all got basically just run down, so they let it all go to pot. They ripped them all down. Butler Street used to be down there, almost opposite those steps. Used to walk up the steps with my granddad to go to the welfare, to go and play on the fields, the football and stuff. And then my granddad had an allotment. Yesterday he's had an allotment up here to the right hand side. Spent many a weekend at the allotment as well, because we had pigeons up there. Used to be able to cross over that field. You can't go over the field now. I take it all the allotments have gone. May have a run up there later on. Yeah, when I think of my grandparents, I think of really nice chips and beans, egg. I used to love coming for me tea midweek. We'd come along for midweek for a cup of tea and not cup of tea, for me tea, for chips. Yeah, my granddad used to make some lovely teas, and my nanny used to work along, I forget what it is down here now, at the very end of the street. What's it called? The club. I'd be surprised if it's still open. I'll have a look. Can't think what it was called now. It was what is it? Oh, the Leather Cap. The Leather Cap. Is the Leather Cap still open? Looks like it's still in use, the Leather Cap. Yes, there's the Leather Cap. Function rooms available, BT Sport. So there you go, Leather Cap still open. And now we're heading off to the pit. I'm going to go for a run around the pit, the old pit. I'm going to go up to where Billy Elliot used to be, where they made Billy Elliot back in there. God, that must have been 2000 and, I have to guess, 2001. 2001, so that's when they made Billy Elliot. Am I correct? Just a quick stab in the dark. I'll head off around here. I'm going to park the car along the front here. And we should go for a run. We'll go for a run. Where the pit was, right in front, basically straight ahead, was where my dad used to go for his pay note. I remember dropping him off there a few times for his pay note. All the office buildings used to be up here, the pit baths over the back. Let's go and find the Billy Elliot Street. I think, if you remember the Billy Elliot scenes where they were being chased through people's houses, the houses up there were like this all the way down. And they were running through one house, through someone else's yard, through another house, through someone else's yard. And I think somewhere along here is where the Billy Elliot Street, where he lived in, the house he lived in, where they filmed it, was just along there. So this is basically one of the streets that Billy Elliot was filmed in, down the back path. This wasn't the house, but this is exactly the same as it would have been further down. Back street like this. Terraced houses going down. There's my old house. That window was there when I lived there. That's how old. Hasn't been updated for that long. Underneath was a building society called Manners and Harrisons. That's where we threw eggs from the street over the house into the grounds of the church behind. We used to catch them. Mad days. And there's Dennis Dene. There used to be a shop called Dene's down there. I think it was a local hardware stores, yes. Local hardware stores. Dennis Dene. Local hero. Remembrance Rose. Planted by Easington Colliery Heritage Group in memory of Dennis Dene, a true local hero. There we go. I remember coming down here on countless walks with my dad. Used to go with my friend, used to go for walks all the way along to Easington Beach for miles on a Sunday. Warm weather. Oh, there were long walks there, mind. When I'm going to head off towards an old barn that heads off towards the beach. The wind is starting to pick up. I feel a bit of dampness coming. There's the fields. That would take you down to Hawthorne Dene. If you didn't want to walk all the way around to the beach banks to come back the way you went, you used to cut through the fields over the farmers, obviously over the farmers' field, which was trespassing, which you shouldn't have been getting up to. I don't want to advertise anybody doing that, but the farmer would come out with his gun and literally shoot, I think, right at you to chase you off his fields. You wonder I was a good runner. Oh. Yeah, so throughout the years, I wouldn't say I was a nasty person. I was mischievous. I used to enjoy a little bit of a wander, a little bit of investigating, a little bit of doing different things that you wouldn't do now at this moment in time. I was a bit mischievous, yes I was. I've tried to learn throughout my life from my mistakes, and I've hopefully brought my kids up to do the complete opposite to what I used to get up to. There is the old barn. There is the old barn. You used to be able to go inside. I don't know if you still can. As you can see, the old stone walls. A lot of ages. Can you get around the back? There's cows in the field, so got to be careful. There's a couple of bulls there. Oh, there's a small gap. Can I squeeze through that gap? Just say got through. As you can see from the distance, the old barn. Very old barn this is. Don't want to get too close to the cows. Yeah. I'm thinking there's summertime you can actually go in there now, can't you? Can you see through there? Hello? Hello? Picking up there. Let's get over. Beware. What? Beware of a puma and the lion roar. Cause I am the eye of the tiger, a fighter, dancing through the fire. Cause I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Right, we're heading off down towards Hawthorne Beach, Hawthorne Dene first. I haven't been down Hawthorne Dene for years. This is the other side from where we went before, where the lights go over to get across, the railway lines. I remember me and my mates running down here, and my friend slipped in a load of cow pat, and he was covered in cow shite. Similar or something along the same lines as that stuff, yes, but it was soggy and it was wet, and that's why he slipped over and he went flying. Right, we're heading off down to Hawthorne Dene. Been for many runs through here. Spent many a Sunday down here with the lads, building swings and all sorts, messing about. Like I said before, getting shot by rice off the farmer. Luckily, never hit us, so I don't know if it actually hurts, but I wouldn't like for it to really happen. Sometimes there's cows in this field, so you've got to be careful where you're going. It's a public footpath, but at the same time, you don't want to be rammed by a cow, do you? Or a bull, actually, rammed by a bull, yeah. Heading towards this gate now. This is going to be one of the most boring videos you've ever seen in your life, but never mind. That's what's happening today. Easington Colliery. If you go down into woods today, you might get a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'll never believe your eyes. There's lions, tigers, scary bears, and everybody's. What's going on down here? Let's have a look. It's been years. I mean, absolute years. I'm going to say, take a wild guess and say 20 years. Since the last time I was down here. 20 years. Oh. Hawthorne Dene, the front entrance. We'll head off down and around to the beach end of it. We're not going to go down into Hawthorne Dene too far. We'll go down to the beach. Oh, and yes, speaking of being down here for 20 odd years, Sunderland have made it to the playoffs. We've made it to the playoffs. I wasn't going to mention football, but football's a big part of Easington in my lifetime when I was younger. One of my best friends called Ed, we watched the Charlton playoff final. Watched the Charlton playoff final in his house with his parents. With his dad was amazing, God rest his soul. And like I said, I'd never seen Ed for years, and we were all so disappointed after that. Absolute nightmare. I couldn't make it to Wembley then. Didn't have enough money, to be fair, to be honest. Oh, sand, yeah. Sand cave. Let's have a look at the sand cave. I think that's been a while since I've been down to this sand cave. It might even just been all filled in now. How far does it go down, I wonder? Wow. That's pretty far. Should we trek into there or not? If I go down there and it collapses, you'll never see us again. We'll have a look. Oh, I wonder if that tiger or lion's down there. Someone's throwing a can down there. Take a trek. Up. There's a big hole up there as well. Something's going to be creeping around inside there. Been watching too many Vampire Diaries again. How far does that flaming thing go down? Jesus. Wouldn't like to see how far that goes down. That goes down quite far. And again, I'm surprised over the years. Something really creepy over there in the corner. Weird looking route. Let's get out of this place before something comes out of there. What did I just hear there? Jesus, like a bat or something. Right, I want to get out of this place. Let's get back up again. Head off towards the beach. Right, it's a lovely little run down here, man. That's lovely trodden. Go for a nice run. I love running down here. There's the viaduct in the distance. Trains still go over there now today. You can actually go down under. Takes you to Hawthorne Beach where all those amazing shells arrangements were. Should I possibly go over that way now and have a look? Possibly. Couldn't I? We can head off down towards, I'm sure we can go down anyway. Does this take you down towards the beach itself? Have a look. It's starting to rain now though, so got to be careful with my phone. You go under the viaduct to get out the other side, but I'm sure there's a left hand side you can get down the steps. Well, you used to be able to. That's somebody's road. What the hell's that on there? Back to front righting. Yeah, here's a way down, look. Somebody's laughing. Some nutter. Some absolute nutter is laughing in the distance. I can hear them. I can see them. Let's get under the viaduct. There's that pillbox again. Down towards the beach. No idea how old Here comes the heavy rain now. Here comes the rain. We're going to head off back up anyway. Yep, everybody leaving the mark on inside the viaduct. Going to hang on inside here a little bit. Oh, look at that in the distance. The tide looks to be out today. Might be a good day to go crabbing. Right, let's head off up this way. It's been years since I've been up this side. The Hawthorne side of the beach. I don't know what the lighting's like, if you can see well, you see good. There's a good drop down there. Tide's out. Beautiful, beautiful beach. Different from your Crimdons, your Seaton Crews, your Rokers, your Seaburns, you know, those sort of beaches. It's mainly, you know, it's mainly stones. There's lots of artwork going on down there. There's the old pillbox that I've showed you before, back from World War II. Only recently this fence has been put up. Before you could just literally walk under the railway lines. There might have been a small kind of fence there, but nothing like this size. I was running along the old coastal line and I saw this path that basically goes to the cliff that was just there. This was never this close to the cliffside, never this close. I ran down here hundreds of times. This was never this close to the cliffside. Say you'll meet me down on the beach tonight, where you and I can dance till break of day. Underneath the stars with silk guitars, we're gonna have an all-night party, babe. Yep, it's collapsing, it's collapsing. Everything's being eroded away by the sea. The sea's a bitch. She's a monster, she's greedy, she wants everything. She'll be dragging all this in, eventually it will come back. Oh, they're going to have to do something before the railway lines get sucked into the sea. She'll want the railway lines, she'll want the trains, she wants everything. She's ruthless, she's greedy, she's nasty, she's a bitch. Path, beach, path, the beach, just there. It's all been eroded away. Here's the path, there's the cliff. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4 steps away, and there's some geezers walking the dog. So literally, here's the path, there's the cliffs. It is being eroded away bit by bit. In another 20 years I think this will be all gone personally. Like I say, the sea's expanding out and grabbing everything. They're grabbing hands, they're grabbing all they can. To the Shipsea Bay via some steps. We have a train coming. The train's coming. You can get up that way, up to Canada. One of the ways you can actually get down to the beach. Let's have a look. There's the steps in place to get round and down onto the beach. Or I don't think so, there's no steps there. I thought there were steps in place. Clearly there's not. Go down as far as I can get and I'll have a sit down. We'll have a little look around the beach, see what we can spot. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could get down there. Quite a drop though, isn't it? So yeah, it's all been eroded away. The sea, the cliff. Recently you can see the cliff's been, and the tide comes right in. Look at this. See if I can get in there and zoom into that. There we go. It's falling into the sea. Erosion. Here we have some strange looking sheep. I'm sure my friend Red Freckles can tell me what kind of sheep that is, because I haven't got a clue. It's a sheep. Hello sheepy. Sheepy, are you being a bit sheepish? Sorry. We're heading now to the old pit shaft. The last kind of remembrance of the pit that was closed in 1993, and the conveyor belt that would take the coal from up there would go straight down into the beach, dump all the coal waste. Oh, nice bit of artwork. Yeah, a bit of artwork going on here. You can see, top quality stuff. Warning, do not trespass on the railway, penalty £1,000 and the possibility of death. And somebody's wrote on, fuck off tossers. If you are out and about and you're feeling low, don't forget, you can talk to the Samaritans. They are always there to help you whenever you need it, even in your darkest hour. There's always someone there to talk to. Heading up towards the old cage, I took the miners down, deep down into the ground. Now windy, not very nice. So we can get inside here, bit of cover. Oh, everywhere you go. FTM, I wonder what that stands for. Oh. I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. Yep. Somewhere down there. It's deep, dark, very wet and damp. And I would never like to go there. Even when it was open, I never fancied working down the pit. My granddad did, my dad did. Not for me, I'm afraid. I went on a YTS course instead. £26 a bloody week for the first year. Living the dream. Yep, so this part of where the pit was used to be where pick up the pay notes. There's the old walls for the pit up there. The pit baths used to be over there somewhere. And, you know, once a thriving community, bouncing when the pit was open, all the shops were open. It's been left to rot by the Tories, who tore down all the pits. And basically, they put nothing back into the community. Let the community rot. Once a thriving colliery and village is now a bit of a ghost town. Looks like Banksy's been here again. Yes, Banksy. Banksy the artist. Probably used to work down the pit. When the pit closed down, he retired. One of his first ever drawings before he head off down towards the big smoke in London. That was Lipton's. It was Lipton's next to Millsy's. It was Lipton's. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the journey around Easington Village, Easington Colliery. Once a thriving, bouncing community back in the 90s until the Tories took down all the pits. Easington finally closed 1993 and it's been left to rot by the Tories. Once a thriving community, it's been left to rot. Please take care, God bless, may your God go with you, and we'll see you again when next time the Mad Mistakes are out and about. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video and give it a share. God bless, see you later.